Hello, everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of ND Plays NHL and Gets Coached by me, the guy whose voice you're hearing right now. So yeah, this game, I don't remember much about it. It was like 10 days ago as of recording this. Probably longer by the time this goes up, but yeah, so I don't particularly remember this game. But I did look through it a little bit, and it looked like it was close. It looked like there were some potentially coachable moments. We've got me on the left wing, Tylenol on the right wing, got Ender at center, of course, as he typically is. And then we have on the back end, I don't remember who was at lefty. Might have been Luai. I can't remember. But right D, I think, was Patrick. But yeah, so we're just going to go ahead and get right into it. All right, so we're about to see a thing that I talked about, I believe, in the previous video. Just, taking good lanes on breakouts or through the neutral zone or whatever, to keep yourself open. Just, again, talking about the away from the puck stuff, because, as I've said before, obviously, it's just as important what you do away with the puck as it is what you do with the puck, if not maybe even sometimes more important. But yeah, so here, Teal is going to... I don't remember if he takes this and makes a pass himself. I think he does. But in any case, you're going to get... you're basically going to drive up the middle. You're going to have a lot of room. And we can watch it through here. He kind of carries it up. Patrick does a good job just, getting out of the way. I like to see that. As the defenseman, you kind of... When the other guy has it, you're not sure where to go because you're not sure if you want to... At least for me anyway, I'm not sure if I should go behind the net to get a pass from him or stay in front of the net. Patrick kind of stays at the side of the net, and as soon as he comes out this side, Patrick rotates over to just get out of his way and let him skate it up or make a breakout pass. So that was nice. I'm over here for a potential far option. Ty's over here, and you're right up the middle. So here you're the obvious choice. I mean, if I was Teal, I would pass it to you right away. But he kind of holds on and waits, which is fine. But then you kind of skate forward, and this guy comes into this area, and you just kind of keep pushing into him. What you needed to do here was there's some room here. At this point, no matter what you do, it's going to be a little bit hard for you to take a pass, because let's say you do what I want you to do here, which is as soon as this guy kind of comes into this area to play you tight, cut over this direction. And then I can either, Ty's just going to continue straight, I think. I can either try to continue straight or even cut back over, behind or in front of you, somewhere through here or through here, maybe. But in any case, there is room here. And, I mean, he can skate it up here, but you should be kind of cutting over. Because I think what essentially would happen is if you cut over here, this guy probably follows you that direction. And if that happens... Tylenol can probably cut more into this area to avoid this guy being in the passing lane. Teal can skate it up a bit and maybe hit him as he's in this area. He's got, there's all kinds of room over here. If he passed it to you, you'd kind of be in a tight spot, but you might be able to hit me. These guys would probably, in this triangle formation here, they'd probably come and pressure you and try to take the puck off you quick. But if you're quick about it, if he hits you quick enough and you're quick about it, then you could probably toss it over to me, and I'd probably have some room over here. But in any case, want to see you cut over this direction and take advantage of some of the space that's here. And then if you do that, I think probably this guy follows you, and this opens up. Like I said, you can make a pass over here, or he can just skate it up this direction. But yeah, if the defender is playing you tight like that, you got to try and move away from him to either get open or force him to continue covering you to open up a lane for someone else. Just rolling it back and watching this play again, you really do stay on that guy for a long time. You do eventually come into the middle, but it was way too... I mean, you initiated contact with that guy around the bottom of the face-off circle, and you only broke off just before the blue line. So you stayed on that guy way too long. You needed to cut over into some space, but Teal makes a good play, hangs onto it, finds me once they kind of commit to you here. Then he gets me. I make a little play. You take the inside lane here, which is, obviously what we want to do. Didn't quite work out at first, but it did kind of pinball back to you. And then you make a nice play here when you have the puck. You find me with a little room here, and I'm going to get in and get a shot, and there's a rebound, and I end up scoring. So, once we got into the zone, it ended up being you played well and you made a good play there, but it was just that breakout and heading through the neutral zone that I think you need to work on, because you really did, like, it was an extended period where you were kind of driving through the guy instead of, moving into the open area. And I think, if you move into that open area, I think that breakout and transition through the neutral zone just becomes a lot easier, because I think that guy probably follows you and then something opens up on the right side. But Teal did make a good play and eventually found me, and we were able to get it in and we score a goal. But something to keep in mind there. You really just want to skate to open ice, through the neutral zone somewhere. All right, so I just noticed a little thing here with Patrick on defense, kind of a defensive Patrick tip here. But you make a nice play to try and pressure this guy as he crosses the line. Your stick was clearly on the puck. I don't know how you didn't knock it away from him, but, we all know the game is extremely good. But in any case, he kind of moves away. And I think, I'm kind of moving over to stay in this lane because this guy has obviously got a ton of space over here. So I'm trying to stay in that lane and contest that a little bit to make it a little bit make him, have to think twice about trying a pass over here at least. My guy doesn't have a great defensive awareness or anything, so I never know if my guy's going to pick up a pass. But if he knows that I'm right in the lane, he at least has to think twice about it. He's getting pressured from Tylenol. He's not big enough to bump him off the puck, unfortunately. So he's going to be able to kind of drive through. But Patrick really bites onto this guy. And I think you should leave this guy to Teal. Let Teal kind of take the front of the net and try to stay kind of in this area here to try and keep this guy from being able to drive to the net himself. Because as we see, what happens here is he just kind of skates it in, and he ended up forcing a pass into a guy that had a three-man coverage. Miraculously, it looked like he actually kind of got a little bit of a shot off there. I'm going to see that again. It almost looked like he actually did shoot it. Okay, no, it did get knocked away. Okay, so yeah, that was obviously a terrible pass. That guy had literally a triangle of people right around him. Now, you never know. I mean, sometimes those passes work because the game is terrible, but this guy had all kinds of room. He literally could have driven it right to the front of the net if he wanted, because Patrick kind of backs off here into between the hash marks when he really should have just let Teal take that. But yeah, you don't want to give the guy a clear lane right to the net like that. Okay, just real quick, something I want to point out. We end up scoring here. I lose the puck, kind of right in the slot, because I kind of moved over and my stick hit that guy's stick, so I lost it momentarily. Takes me a minute to get the puck back here, but what I want to point out is that this side of the net is open, and initially what I was trying to do was pull it forehand and shoot far side. But because I end up kind of in this spot where now I'm in a delayed shooting animation because I tried to shoot it and lost it, and now my guy's going to pick it back up and shoot it. The delayed shot thing is unfortunate, but sometimes you can take advantage of it. And what I mean by that is, if you know that if you're in a situation where you can tell you have a delayed shot animation, your guy's going to shoot it even if you don't want him to, don't just continue to shoot it where you were going to shoot it. Wait and see what happens, and by the time you shoot it, use that delay to your advantage and readjust the aim of your shot to put it where the goalie, isn't anymore. Essentially, is I wanted to shoot it far side, but I lost the puck, so my shot's delayed. So now instead of aiming it far side, I'm just going to aim it back to the other side. Because I recognize that the goalie slid way over here. So there's plenty of room to shoot over there, and I end up getting kind of lucky. It's not a good shot. It's a terrible backhand shot. The goalie slid way too far out of the way, and it goes in. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out because, delayed shots suck and they happen sometimes. But if it does happen, you can try and kind of use the delay a little bit to your advantage to readjust the shot and catch them off guard. Okay, here's kind of another thing I want to point out with, playing away from the puck, you want to be aware of all the passing lanes that the puck carrier has, and you want to be aware of I guess kind of your surroundings and their surroundings, and the potential problem, like potential interceptions or whatever, or just pressure for their passing lanes or whatever. But so what I wanted to say is right here, I think you kind of end up in the spot where you're overall, you recognize that I was kind of getting pressured, so you're kind of over on this side to support a bit. I think actually I end up kind of getting the puck and moving away here. I was in a little bit of trouble with these guys, but I ended up getting the puck and moving away a little bit. And so now there's 4 guys over in this area. There's only 1 guy covering all this, right? So what I want to do here is I'm moving over and I'm thinking, okay, Tylenol has so much room over here, I want to get it to him. But I can't get it to him because you're kind of like perfectly in the lane. And the problem with this is that, well, it's like, normally it's like, okay, well, I could pass to you and then you could pass to him, right? The problem is this guy right here. If I pass to you, this guy can just turn around and knock it away or take it or whatever. And I think that is what he ends up doing. He basically just takes it away from you. But if you either recognize this lane here and how much room is here, how much room he has to work with if he gets it, what you can do is you can just stop. Like the play is pushing this way, he's pushing this way. So if you just stop, this lane's going to open up, I'm going to hit him no problem. But because you continue skating forward, now I kind of have to pass to you. Even though I want to go all the way across to him, I kind of have to pass to you. Another thing you can do, though, is you don't necessarily have to stop. What you can do is just move over this direction. Like, don't necessarily take like a diagonal or anything. I mean like hard turn here. Because this guy is going to pressure you. Like, you're my obvious outlet at this point. So this guy is definitely going to pressure you, thinking that you could end up with the puck here. So take like a hard turn, create separation from him, and then you'll probably, if you take a hard turn here, you'll probably still get caught in the passing lane because the game's weird with its passing, so it may still lock onto you. But if it does, it's fine, because you're over here, you've got all kinds of room, you can hit Tylenol, he should have some speed going, and then you can come in a little bit staggered kind of behind him as he enters the zone. It could end up being like a 2-on-1 or at least a 2-on-2. But yeah, any of that is a lot better than just kind of continuing forward into this guy's reach, which ultimately, as I let this play out here, we're going to see that I have to hit you there, and then that guy is able to take it away because he came over, cut you off, took it away from you. Yeah, if you had like made a hard cut back here or just stopped and let that passing lane open up, would have worked out a lot better. I think we would have easily gotten through the neutral zone. We probably would have had a decent chance out of it just because of how much room he had over here. All right, minor thing coming up here. He hits you with a pass, which is fine because, you're in a tight spot here, but you do have just enough room to kind of throw it over to the wing, and Tylenol is going to have a ton of space over here, and you do that. It was a great play. You get it, and you just quickly make a pass over, and now it's an easy zone entry. Tylenol kind of screws this up, I think. He takes it to the net, which is like, kind of okay, but he's not really that close, and he doesn't have a great angle. These guys are here. He really should have just pass this back to you. But I will say, if I can, unfortunately have to go all the way back here and watch it all over again. but here, you kind of turn yourself, and this I assume is because you're holding L2 to and up on the right stick to go for the one-timer. But here, I would probably just like hold up on the right stick and not hold L2, because you really don't want to turn yourself this way. And it's a hard habit to break, Because sometimes, like, the one-timer is just really finicky in this game. Sometimes holding the L2 makes it work. Sometimes holding the L2 makes it not work. But it doesn't really ever seem to be consistent, because there are plenty of times where you should do the one-timer and you just don't. But in this case, the turn here, I don't think helped you at all. I think if he had passed it back, you would have gotten a really weird shot animation. And it's probably a slow, crappy shot. Whereas if you just stayed skating forward, you could probably one-time it better. And even if your guy didn't do a one-timer, if you were just skating completely forward here, he would still be able to get a decent shot off, even if it's not a one-timer. But because you get turned around here, if he had passed it to you, I guarantee you would have gotten like a really weird, crappy shot animation instead of the one-timer like you wanted. But yeah, you kind of hold it too long too, I think. So you're kind of like turned. You almost have your back to the puck, which is not really the one-timer angle that you want. What you can do, actually, if you really want to hold L2 to try and make sure that like the one-timer thing works, you can just like, because L2 makes you face backwards of the direction that you're moving. So what you can do is quick move this direction, turn, kind of like move towards the point here, towards teal, just to get your back facing that direction so that your eyes are on the puck and you're in good position, so that if he does make the pass, then it would be in your wheelhouse. But I don't think you needed to do that. I think really if you just hadn't held L2, you would have been good here. But, you know, it didn't really matter because he ended up taking a shot. It wasn't a great shot to take. You were definitely the play to make here, and you did a good job positioning yourself in this open ice here. But, yeah, the L2, I think, probably let off the L2 or L2 and try to move this direction to get yourself facing the puck, rather than just here you just kind of have your back to it. I wanted to point out here, I get the puck. I kind of got 5 guys around me. I'm not really sure what to do to get into the zone. So I kind of just I'm like, all right, well, whatever. I'm just going to try it. I'm going to try and use the speed to go around them wide. But I talked about in the last video using the self-sauce and kind of angling it off the boards to help you get around a guy. And just so happens that this game that I watched ended up having a really good example of doing that, as I actually wasn't going forward. I was going backward because I picked off a pass. That's what happened. Picked off a pass, so I've got all kinds of pressure around me here. What I could actually potentially do here is catch you skating into this area and maybe just throw like a light saucer into this area and hope that you can skate into it. Didn't do that. That probably would have been a really smart thing to do, actually. But I tried to beat him with speed to the outside, and you just see I make this quick little self-saw. He's got the stick, you know, he's like waving his stick around, and I can't remember if these were zero ping guys or not, but you know, he's waving his stick around. It's going to be hard for me to get around him here. So I just kind of preemptively sauce it off the boards to kind of keep it away from him, but also keep my momentum going forward. Because A, you're coming up with speed over here, and I don't want to like potentially put you offside. But B, there's a back checker right on me, so I don't want to like turn around or slow down too much because he's just going to catch me and run me over. So to try and keep the momentum going forward while also keeping the puck kind of away from this guy, I can just kind of, you know, self-sauce it off the boards and pick it up in stride and try to keep going and use that to try and keep my speed going and get around this guy. Because I know this guy's big, and if I have the puck, he's going to like either poke it away with his really long stick or he's going to run me over or whatever. So I'm able to kind of go to the outside, use my speed to my advantage, and keep the puck out of his range, all while continuing my momentum forward. And then I'm able to pick it back up, and now I'm around him. And he does end up getting that. Actually, I think that was actually kind of a decent stick lift because my stick was out in front of him and he lifted. But fortunately, the puck was already moving forward, so I was able to just keep on going. And now, you know, I end up with this chance here. This actually end up going for a shot. I don't remember if it doesn't go in or it gets blocked or what. We'll see in a second. But right here, I probably should have recognized that this is an opportunity to do what I keep telling you to do, which is do like a spin pass. So if I had used the L2 right stick spin to spin around to the outside here, I probably could have thrown it into the middle and hit Tylenol for a one-timer. Would have been tough because the goalie's on this side and the open net is over here, and there are two guys standing in front of the open net. But, you know, that probably would have been a good play because at the very least I'm getting it to a teammate over here who has all kinds of room to do something with it. But instead I kind of took a shot from a bad. I don't think any. Yeah, he just knocked it away from me, which is kind of BS in and of itself. But you know, whatever. Point is, you know, I didn't make anything of it there. But point is, I was able to kind of gain the zone and turn, you know, get a potential opportunity out of a simple, just, you know, get the speed going, sauce it off the boards, and try to go around him. You know, and it worked perfectly here. I mean, I didn't plan this, but this ended up being an absolutely perfect example of what I was talking about in the previous video. All right, here's another thing I want to show you. It kind of looks like I'm going to have room here, but these guys like rotate over very quickly. Like they just have, like they have these, I never understand how this works, where the guys get these like really big builds that they can run you over, but they also are like super agile and fast. It doesn't make any sense to me. This game's so busted with the way that like speed works, because small players should have the speed and quickness to just kind of like make moves around bigger guys, but it's really hard to do that. And the big guys, all they have to do is like breathe in your vicinity and you'll fall over. So it's really frustrating that, you know, the big guys are able to catch you. But anyway, point is, I get cut off here and I have nowhere to go here. There's like nothing I can maybe try like my horizontal dump that I like to do, where I just kind of dump it across the ice and let them, you know, let the right winger skate into it, which I think could have worked here if I had done that. But instead I'm like, hey, there's not much happening here. I'm going to get destroyed if I go into the zone. So I just don't. And both of you guys go flying into the zone expecting me to go into the zone. But the thing is, like, nothing was going to happen there. I mean, maybe I could have sent it around the boards, but like Tylenol isn't even going that direction, right? Like if he was anticipating me just dumping it around the boards, he should be, you know, going out this direction. Instead, he's kind of going towards the net. Like you're expecting me to make a play, but like I couldn't have made a play here. There was nothing I could have done. If I had gone into the zone, I would have been crushed. But you know, so this is just what I wanted to say. Like, you know, you don't have to go into the zone. You don't. It's obviously a lot of people feel like they need to keep moving forward. They need to just skate across the blue line, but you don't. Like you can just keep possession, look for another way in, and because these guys both really committed to shutting me down there, when I turned around and didn't go into the zone, they're like totally caught over here. And look at all this space here. Like if you guys, I'm gonna have to wait for you guys to get on-side here, but if you guys hadn't gone into the zone, like there would have been all this space here that I could have walked into, and we could have created a play out of that. But even though you guys went into the zone, like you can still, you know, we can still reset. We can still get something going. I don't remember what happens. Yeah, I do end up full resetting. But like, don't be afraid to do that. There's no reason not to do it. If you just skate into the zone when you know that there's nothing you can do and you're just going to get crushed, it's just a turnover. So, you know, like you might as well just drag it back and you know, reset it. I don't remember here at all what happened here, so we can, you know, watch. And, you know, you're kind of making a nice play, actually moving to the out, you know, to the open area on the wing, which is good. I would rather you move to the open area than like skate directly into these guys. But yeah, I end up finding Tylenol and he's able to get it in. Unfortunately, it has it poked away. I don't know if he gets it back or whatever, but you know, in any case, we got into the zone. We had the puck and we got into the zone, rather than me just kind of skating in and getting crushed for no reason when there was no way I was going to get in. So here you just made a good play to kind of force this guy into a bad turnover along the boards. I end up getting it. I've got all kinds of ice in front of me. And I end up just like blowing it. What you did here was great. You forced this guy into, you know, a bad turnover where now we have, you know, their whole team is going the other way and there's all this room right to the net. This guy's going to come in and get in my way, so I can't skate it all the way to the net. But I do still have a decent opportunity here. And unfortunately, I didn't do anything with it because I was looking for you on kind of an against the grain backdoor play. as this guy really got aggressive with that poke. So I actually ended up making a pass like as wow, he really got aggressive with that poke. Basically, I ended up making the pass like as soon as I could. But you did the right thing. You drove to the net here. Unfortunately, that guy was just on you and kind of, he was a problem. I shouldn't have tried to pass to you. I could have actually gone to Teal, or I could have even gone to Tylenol. Yeah, going to you, like, you were just covered. I mean, there really wasn't anything I could do there. So this is just kind of, I point this out because, this is definitely an example of where I had a play in mind and I wanted to make it happen. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a great play. And then I just forced it to happen, even though this guy's right here and there's no way it's going to happen. So I needed to do something better with it here. Looking back on it again, I think Teal had some room here. He was far enough away from this guy's stick that he could have at least dragged it back and done something. Maybe even put it on net low for a rebound and let me drive to it. But in any case, yeah, just, you're covered here. I shouldn't have made that pass. So don't do that. All right, another quick Patrick tip. He's going to pick it up in the corner in our own zone. You're wide open here. He could, at this exact moment, if he had immediately, shot it up the boards, Tylenol probably could have gotten it, and there's a risk that it might have actually gone past him and down the ice, but this guy's, rushing over, and as we see, he just totally cuts off this lane. What he needed to do was pass it, or instead of directly, should have gone around the boards if he really wanted to do that. But I don't like the pass to Tylenol at all, to be honest. You're open here, and it's just, it's a two-pass play, essentially. I think Tylenol is the guy to get the puck here. I think he is the correct guy to get the puck to. But it can't be direct. It's got to be, this guy's right in the middle. You guys have a triangle here, right? And, essentially, it's actually kind of like a right triangle a little bit. And, this is the hypotenuse. But the hypotenuse is covered by this guy who's right in the middle of it. So you needed to run it through the legs of the triangle rather than the direct route. So the pass up to you in the middle here is where Patrick should have gone, and then you could have immediately hit Tylenol, and now he's got some room to work with. And this guy's dead on the other side, so he's got me and even Teal, I guess, in position to take off this direction and support, over here with all this open ice. But unfortunately, ends up being a turnover and just not good. But then their guy screws up and turns it over to me, but then I blow it on the breakaway, unfortunately. And then I make a bad pass. This is a good example of shoot it. Need that shooting mentality. Here I'm in decent shooting position. I think what I can do here, actually, if I'd passed it right at this moment, it might have been okay. But I waited a little too long. What I could have done is either try to snipe it 5-hole or short side. It looks like he has a short side really well covered. But this is probably actually an ideal scenario for just to throw it pad low. This guy could pick it up, but he's almost definitely going to intercept the pass, and obviously he does end up doing that, or somebody does anyway. But I could have just put it off the pad low and let Tylenol try to get to the rebound, but, just an example of, hey, overpassing, needed shooting mentality. It was actually this guy that got it. It's crazy. But yeah, needed a low shot there, or just a shot at all. Just get it to the net. That's why I talk about, the shooting mentality, especially against these teams that are so stifling, so suffocating defensively. You always got to take your chances that you get and get them to the net. And here and it ends up being a turnover and we don't get it on net because I forced a pass that just probably wasn't going to work. I mentioned this in, I think actually both of the last couple videos, but this is another one of the interference penalties where you're kind of running at the guy and you're fully committed to the hit from really far away, and this guy's right in the way of it. You gotta first, you don't want to be committed to the hit from that far away. You don't really want to run at guys for the hit like this because they're probably just going to avoid you. But certainly once you realize that this guy is in the way, you got to let up, and it's, maybe you did and it just hit him anyway, but I don't like the being so committed to the hit from far away in the first place. It ends up not working out. You kill that guy, it's a penalty. I mean, that's what'll happen if the guy's in front. If the guy's in front, you're gonna hit him, and then it's gonna be interference. So you can't do it. You don't want to be overcommitted to that hit especially from so far away. I think this is probably the last thing I have to say about this one. Really, not a whole lot to say as the game came into the final minutes here. This is really just kind of, again, a small point, but something that I've mentioned before is just I get it up, kind of got Tylenol breaking, and this would actually be a pretty decent opportunity to just slap shot it down the ice, try to put it towards the corner boards up here and bounce it back into the middle, because he should have the speed to beat this guy clean, and then he would essentially have a breakaway. And, down 2 with 18 seconds left, it's actually, if he scores on it, we could potentially come back and tie the game. But I end up not doing that, which I think in hindsight is definitely the wrong choice. I should have just slapped it down. Always be on the lookout for when your teammate is either behind them already or he's got the speed to get behind them, and don't be afraid to fire those slappers down the ice. But what ends up happening is he kind of gets to the inside. It looks like he's got a little room, so I start to think, like, okay, I can make this pass to him. But unfortunately, you end up in just the wrong spot. As my passing lane from the puck to his stick is like right through you. So you end up stealing it. Not what I wanted to happen. Obviously, you end up stealing it. So in these situations, when you see the lane like that, just get out of the way. When you see like an obvious longer passing lane like that, move out of the way so that you don't move like safely out of the way so that it doesn't like auto lock onto you or you don't somehow pick it up or whatever. Just try to make sure you're keeping those those really good opportunity lanes open, and that you're not kind of in the way blocking them. Well, we ended up losing that game, of course, but I definitely think that there was a lot to take away from that one. It was a tight game, close one. Those guys, they weren't really great, but it was a tight team game. Definitely some more that we could have done. I think we took an early lead, and that kind of fell apart, unfortunately. Just some mistakes, and EA got really EA in that game. I think we should have probably won that game, but anyway. Definitely some learning moments there, but I hope this helped. And yeah, thanks for watching as always, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.